welcome Crystal to give us the language evaluator. Let's welcome Crystal.
Alright guys, so I'll get right to it. My first one is from the first session where we were having a chat about the cats, and I heard a lot of people say, do you know? Do you know? Hey, I want you to talk about the cats. Do you know? What you should be saying is, do you know what I mean? Or do you understand me? Okay, I've heard a lot of people say this. Or sometimes when you're explaining something, maybe in the table topics or in your speech, some of you will say, do you know? Do you know? And I say, do I know what? Tell me what, okay? Do you know what I mean? Okay, so if you're not sure that people, whether or not they understand you, okay, you should say, do you know what I mean? Or simply, understand me? Do you know what I mean? It just completes the sentence a little bit more that you know, you know, you know. Next one, very simple mistake. He, she. Okay, there's no he, she in Chinese. I know, so it's confusing when you're speaking English. But it is, as soon as you make a mistake, it's very obvious. So be a little bit careful about that. I heard that a few times today. Often when you guys are doing the evaluation, you talk about the person's confidence, especially if it's their first speech. It's really hard to be confident. So a lot of evaluators will say something like this. Okay, she's not enough confidence. What you want to say is she doesn't have enough confidence. Okay, but I honestly think that both of the speakers today, you guys seem like you had a lot of confidence. You guys seem well prepared, and you both did a very good job, very interesting speeches. Okay, so the sentence doesn't apply to today, in my opinion, okay? But it is a useful sentence to be able to use. The next thing I want to mention, here are you guys forgetting the S in a lot of words. For so many words, you forget the S. Today we have many helper. We have 2 speakers today. The speech was 5 seconds. Please don't use, or please use gesture. Okay, you should be having an S on all of those. Okay, helpers, speakers, seconds, gestures. So you guys forget the S for everything, and then when you use 1 times, then you add an S. Okay, so be a little careful with that. Okay? I know it's really hard to think very clearly when you're standing at the front. And forgetting an S is a really simple thing to do. It's really easy to do. But just try to be a little bit aware of that. If you are speaking about different speakers or many speakers, you should have an S. Today we have many helpers, you should have an S. Okay? When I did my table talk, I only said 1 time. Okay, 1 time. Be careful if you do say 1, there shouldn't be an S again. Okay? And you guys know that. Okay? Of course you do. But when you're speaking, you sometimes forget it. So I pointed out just to help you guys remember. I did mention this before, but I still am hearing some pronunciation problems with the cards. Okay? Make sure you do pronounce the D. Okay? So the green card, the red card, the yellow card, okay? Make sure you pronounce that D. Otherwise, I think that you're saying car. And I think that you're very strong if you're holding up the green car, the red car. Okay. Another one, I did mention this before, but I will keep mentioning it until you fix it. Okay. I study at NDHU. I study at NDHU. Okay, not in. Okay, I study at university. At university. In your guys' elementary school and high school, I think that you're taught both to say and so on, and to write it as well. And in some situations, it's okay to use, but in general, I think it's overused. Because maybe you're giving a talk, and you're like, oh, I have many interests. I like playing basketball, badminton, and so on. Okay? If you say and so on, I just want you to tell me the other things. I don't want you to just say and so on. I want you to tell me all those things. Or you can say, and many other sports. Okay? I like studying English, math, and many other subjects. I like eating pizza and hamburgers and many other Western foods. Okay? So it's much better to say that. And many other, whatever you were talking about. If you say and so on, I don't know, to me it just sounds a little bit unprofessional or a little bit vague, or I just want you to tell me more. Or to say a sentence like this that finishes the idea more clearly. Okay? But it's not your fault, and I see it in textbooks too. It's often in English textbooks. It's not wrong. I just feel like it's overused a lot in Taiwan. So you can say it, but if you do say this phrase a lot, maybe try not to say it quite as much. In a couple situations, you guys mix these two up a little bit. Okay? Pick up versus pick out. Okay? Pick up is an action where you are actually lifting something up. For example, pick up trash, or oops, I dropped the chalk. I'm going to pick up the chalk. It's an action where you're lifting something. Whereas pick out, this means to choose. So a lot of you guys were saying, for example, pick out, or if you said pick up a name, pick up a Japanese name, pick up an English name. What you should be saying is pick out. And pick out is meaning to choose. Okay, pick up the chalk, pick up the trash, pick out a name. Or for example, for Sean's game, the little numbers, or sorry, the words, pick out a paper. Okay. You can also just say pick. Pick a name, pick a number. That's fine too. And I would say, actually, that's probably more what I would say. It just sounds a little bit more natural. Pick a number, pick a name. It just flows a little bit more. But if you say pick out, that's fine too. But you shouldn't be saying pick up in that situation. Pick up is more an action that you're doing. You guys are very specific about levels in your school, whether it's university, junior high, or high school. But in English, we're not as specific. Okay? So, for example, this sentence here, I was in second grade junior high student. If you say that in English, it sounds confusing to me. It's too much detail. I don't need to know that. Okay? Let's make this a full sentence. When I was a second grade junior high student. You should say something more like this. Keep it simple because this is how a native speaker would say it. Okay. When I was in grade 8. In English, we always talk just about the grade. I don't really care if it was elementary school or high school. Because if you tell me the grade, then I already know if it was elementary school or high school. Okay, for example, elementary school, you're going to have grade 1, grade 5. So if you say, when I was in grade 5, I already know that you were in elementary school. Okay. If you say that I was in middle school, okay. If you say, when I was in grade 8, I know that you're in middle school. You don't need to tell me. High school, grade 9 as well. If you want to be more general, you could say, when I was in elementary school. Okay, actually, when I was at elementary school. When I was at, both are okay, actually. Okay. When I was in elementary school, I had lots of friends. When I was in middle school, I played sports. When I was in high school, I joined a band. You can say it in a general way like that, or you can just say the grade. But you don't need to be saying second grade junior high student. It's just too much information. And it's a little bit easier for you guys just to remember what grade. Okay. Because in English we just don't want all the detail. And that's a mistake I hear quite often. So just keep it nice and simple. Yep.
But in Taiwan, elementary school, we start for 6 years.
Study for 6 years in elementary school. Okay, that's fine too. Maybe you go 6 year.
But if we talk with the other foreigner, it's a problem about that.
No, not really. I think if you just specify the grade. Okay, so if you're in elementary school until grade 6,
Yes.
that's fine. Just say, when I was in grade 6. If you just say the grade, yeah.
How about, I heard some people just say I was in the year 8.
Year 8. Yeah, in the UK it's different.
Yes, they say.
Yeah. They also say they have forms too. When I was in first form, when I was in second form, when I was in third form. But to be honest, I actually don't know what grade that means. Okay, so I should clarify. This is specific for North America.
Okay.
Yeah. In the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, they do have a different format. Yeah. And you'll have to Google that. I knew it at one point. I studied in New Zealand for 1 year, so I knew it then, but I've forgotten it now. I think 8th form is your last year of high school. I think. Google it, okay? Don't trust me. Okay? But that's a really good point. It is different based on the English-speaking country. But even if you're in the UK, Australia, or New Zealand, if you say grade 5, grade 6, they'll understand what you mean.
Okay.
Probably more so than if you say second year junior high school student. That's good. I don't need a lot of space. I'm almost. I'm going to pick up the chalk now. Oh, maybe I should pick out a different color though. Oh, pick out a different color. And what do you say when fruit is mature? When fruit is ready to eat? There's a specific word for it. Do you guys know? Ripe. Okay. So what about the papaya? Papaya? Okay. So when it is mature or when it is ripe. Okay. So ripe means that it's ready to eat. Okay. Ripe is ready to eat.
So for any kind of food or fruit.
For any fruit. Yeah,
Fruit.
any fruit. Or use it for vegetables too.
Okay.
Yeah, it means that it's ready to eat. Fruits or vegetables. For this word, I had to Google it actually, making use of Google tonight. Okay? This isn't pronounced corpse. Okay? If you say corpse, I think that you're talking about a corpse means a dead person. Okay? But this, at least in North America, we pronounce it core. Okay? So, for example, the Marine Corps. Okay? Corps would be the singular, one group. Okay? But if you have many different groups, you're going to say the Marine Corps. Okay? Marine is the ocean military. That was a little confusing for me too. Marine Corps or Corps.
A group of people?
Group of people in some kind of military group. Yeah. So instead of saying, oh, there's a group of military people, you can say, oh, there's a group, let's say it's a Marine Corps, or an Air Force Corps.
Is common war?
Not very common, at least not in my life. Maybe if you're in the military, definitely. But for me, I don't use this word very often. Just useful, sort of interesting. I'm a terrible drawer, remember that. Skateboard? And you guys were talking about skateboarding and you said there's a, this thing? Just said, you know what I mean? That's a good thing. This thing is called a half pipe. Half pipe. Yeah, half pipe. So a pipe is like that you would use maybe for the toilet. There's a pipe for the toilet. If you cut it in half, it would look like this. Yeah. And a half pipe, you can use that for skateboarding or also for snowboarding too. When you do like skateboarding with snow. Lots of fun. Okay, so that's called a half pipe. My time's up, so I'll stop. But I do want to compliment you guys on one thing though. I really appreciate the fact that you guys listen so carefully and everyone takes notes when I do this evaluation. And I do notice that you guys are improving every week. For example, this week, I didn't hear one person say, come to the stage. Everybody said, come to the front, come to the front, when you come to the front. So it's really good, and I'm noticing, I'll point out some things that you're continuing to do, okay, and just to be annoying. But overall, I'm noticing a big improvement. When I tell you guys something, you do a really good job of changing it and modifying your English. So, good job. I'm impressed.